Shalom. You spent 2 years showing up at 5 a.m. every morning. Every single morning. Rain, snow, exhaustion, sickness. You never missed. Not once. You built the routine everyone talks about. You became the person others pointed to as disciplined, consistent, reliable. 2 years later, you looked around. Same job, same salary, same problems, same life. Meanwhile, your co-worker who shows up late half the time got promoted. Your neighbor who skips workouts more than he does them lost 40 pounds. Your friend who barely studies passed the exam you failed twice. You did everything right. You followed every rule about consistency. You became a machine of reliability. But nothing moved. Not your income, not your health, not your relationships, not your life. You stayed exactly where you started, just 2 years older and more frustrated. The problem was not your consistency. The problem was where your consistency was placed. Some consistency creates growth. Other consistency locks you in place. If this feels uncomfortable, it's because it's familiar. You showed up every day. You stayed steady. You did not quit. You stayed disciplined. You waited for change. Nothing shifted. You watched others grow. You watched time pass. You kept repeating the same routine, day after day after day, expecting different results from identical actions. You thought consistency meant showing up. You thought discipline meant not missing. You thought reliability meant doing the same thing over and over. But systems do not work that way. People do not work that way. Life does not work that way. You were consistent in the wrong place. You were disciplined about the wrong things. You were reliable in ways that changed nothing. This is not bad luck. This is how systems work. Systems do not reward repetition. Systems respond to structure. Systems check whether repetition creates pressure or can be absorbed. If your consistency can be absorbed without consequence, it will be absorbed without reward. Think of walking on a treadmill that goes nowhere. You move your legs, you sweat, you stay consistent, but the treadmill absorbs your effort without moving you forward. The system is designed to take your energy and give you nothing back. Think of pouring water into sand. You pour consistently, every day, same amount, same time. The sand absorbs everything. No puddle forms, no pressure builds. The sand just drinks your effort and stays the same. Think of pushing against a locked door. You push hard, you push daily, you push with perfect form. But the door was locked from the beginning. Your consistency proves your strength, but the structure determines the outcome. Repetition proves discipline. Structure determines outcome. Most people are consistent in systems that were designed to absorb their effort. They show up to jobs that need bodies, not growth. They exercise in ways that maintain, not transform. They study information that has no consequence. They practice skills that have no market. They build relationships that require nothing. Their consistency becomes a drug. It feels good, it looks impressive, but it changes nothing. The system takes their discipline and gives them the feeling of progress without actual progress. They get busy without getting results. They get tired without getting closer. This explains why discipline feels invisible. You work harder than everyone around you, but your life looks the same as everyone around you. You sacrifice more, show up more, try more, but you have the same bank account, same body, same problems. The system absorbed your extra effort without giving you extra results. This explains why repetition produces nothing. Repetition without structure is just motion. It burns energy. It burns time. But it does not build pressure. It does not force change. It just proves you can do the same thing many times. This explains why years pass without movement. You counted days instead of outcomes. You measured showing up instead of shifting up. You tracked consistency instead of consequences. Time passed. You stayed busy. But busy is not progress. Motion is not movement. Effort is not outcome. Meanwhile, people around you figured out structure. They found systems that required response. They placed their effort where it could not be absorbed. They created pressure that forced change. They worked less but worked where it mattered. They were less consistent but more strategic. You watched them pass you. You wondered how they moved so fast with so little discipline. The answer is simple. They understood that systems respond to pressure, not persistence. They found the places where effort creates consequence, where showing up demands response, where consistency forces movement. You stayed consistent in the wrong system. You poured your discipline into something that could drink it forever without giving anything back. You pushed against doors that were designed never to open. You ran on treadmills that were built to go nowhere. The man from the beginning stayed consistent every season, spring, summer, fall, winter. He never missed, not once. His routine was perfect. His discipline was unbreakable. But the system never adjusted. The system never responded. The system never rewarded. The structure did not require response. His consistency carried no consequence. He could show up or not show up, and the same things would happen. The system would continue exactly as it was. His effort was optional. His discipline was decoration. His consistency was absorbed. Some systems survive by absorbing discipline without rewarding it. Think about your job. Does showing up early change anything? Does staying late create opportunity? Does perfect attendance lead to advancement? Or does the system just absorb your extra effort and continue paying you the same amount for the same work? Think about your health. Does going to the gym maintain your current condition? Does eating well keep you exactly where you are? Does consistency prevent decline without creating improvement? Or does your routine actually force your body to respond and change? Think about your skills. Does practice maintain your current level? Does study keep you competitive without making you exceptional? Does improvement happen automatically? Or does the system absorb your effort without upgrading your ability? Think about your relationships. Does showing up maintain connection without deepening it? Does consistency keep things stable without making them stronger? Does your effort get absorbed into daily maintenance instead of creating growth? Most people are consistent in systems that need their energy to stay the same. The system depends on their effort to maintain the current state. Their consistency becomes the fuel that keeps everything exactly as it is. They work harder to stay in place. They discipline themselves to remain stuck. These systems are everywhere. Jobs that need reliable workers but do not create opportunities. Gyms that need monthly payments but do not require results. Schools that need attendance but do not demand learning. Relationships that need maintenance but do not build intimacy. The systems survive because people mistake motion for movement. They mistake being busy for making progress. They mistake discipline for effectiveness. They mistake consistency for strategy. But there is a difference between working hard and working where it matters. There is a difference between showing up and showing up where response is required. There is a difference between being consistent and being consistent in a system that rewards consistency. The difference is structure. Structure determines whether effort gets absorbed or creates pressure. Structure determines whether consistency maintains or transforms. Structure determines whether discipline proves character or changes circumstances. Most people choose structure based on how it feels, not on how it works. They choose comfortable structure, predictable structure, structure that makes them feel disciplined without forcing them to change. structure that lets them work hard without getting uncomfortable results. But systems that feel good rarely create growth. Systems that comfort rarely transform. Systems that let you feel disciplined without getting different results are systems designed to absorb effort. Real structure feels different. It feels unstable. It feels demanding. It feels like it might not work. It requires response. It creates consequence. It forces change even when you do not want change. Real structure makes your effort matter. It makes consistency count. It makes discipline create results instead of just proving character. It turns repetition into pressure. It turns showing up into moving up. But real structure is harder to find. It requires looking past what feels good to what actually works. It requires choosing systems that demand response instead of systems that absorb effort. It requires placing consistency where it creates consequence. Most people avoid real structure. It feels risky. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like they might fail publicly instead of privately. So they choose safe structure, comfortable structure, structure that lets them work hard without risking real change. They stay consistent in systems that were built to contain them. They discipline themselves within boundaries that were designed to limit them. They work hard in places that were created to absorb their effort without giving them power. Years pass, they get older, they get more experience, they get more disciplined. But they do not get different results. They do not get different opportunities. They do not get a different life. They just get more proof that they can work hard without changing anything. This is why effort feels pointless. This is why discipline feels invisible. This is why consistency feels like punishment instead of power. They placed their best effort in systems that were designed to waste it. The man could have stayed consistent for 10 years, 20 years, his entire life. The system would have absorbed every day of effort without giving him one day of progress. Not because he was not disciplined, not because he was not committed, but because the system was structured to take without giving. He was consistent in a system that did not require consistency. He was disciplined in a place that did not reward discipline. He was reliable in a structure that did not need reliability to function. His consistency kept the system stable. His discipline kept it running. His reliability kept it exactly the same. His effort became the fuel that powered his own stagnation. This happens in every area of life. People work jobs that need their energy to stay profitable but do not need their growth to stay competitive. They enter relationships that need their effort to stay comfortable but do not need their development to stay connected. They pursue goals that need their discipline to feel meaningful but do not need their success to stay relevant. They become prisoners of their own consistency, trapped by their own discipline, limited by their own reliability. Their best qualities become the chains that hold them in place. But there is another way. There is structure that requires response. There is consistency that creates consequence. There is discipline that forces change. This structure feels different. It feels unstable because it is unstable. It changes when you change. It responds when you respond. It grows when you grow. It cannot absorb your effort because your effort is what makes it work. In this structure, consistency matters. Discipline counts. Reliability creates results. Your effort becomes investment instead of maintenance. Your time becomes leverage instead of expense. Your work becomes progress instead of just proof. But you have to find this structure. You have to choose it. You have to place your consistency where it creates pressure instead of where it gets absorbed. You have to discipline yourself in systems that cannot function without your growth. Most people will not do this. They will stay consistent in systems that make them feel good about working hard without getting different results. They will choose comfort over consequence. They will choose predictability over pressure. They will choose systems that absorb their effort over systems that require their development. They will spend their lives proving they can work hard without proving they can create change. They will become experts at showing up without becoming experts at moving up. They will perfect their consistency in systems that were designed to keep them exactly where they are. But you can choose differently. You can place your consistency where it matters. You can discipline yourself in systems that cannot ignore your effort. You can work hard in places that must respond to hard work. You can stop pouring water into sand and start building rivers that flow somewhere. You can stop pushing against locked doors and start finding doors that open when pushed. You can stop running on treadmills that go nowhere and start walking paths that lead somewhere. The choice is structure. The question is consequence. The answer is pressure. Systems do not respond to repetition. They respond to structure. Your consistency is powerful. Your discipline is valuable. Your reliability is rare, but only when placed in systems that cannot absorb them without changing. Silence is information. This channel explains why effort fails before it works.